Tonight, in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, after the opposition party leaders in Cameroon mounted pressure, threatening to take to the streets, elections, Cameroon withdraws polling stations in military barracks and palaces across the national territory. We tell you more about the decision that was taken today by the Board Chair of Elections, Cameroon, in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Also ahead, elites in the southwest region of the country have rejected secession as way out of the current socio-political impasse in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon, calling for security to be beefed up in the southwest region of the country. In this newscast, we tell you more. And also ahead, we shall be talking about the press conference of the Minister of Communication, Issa Shiroma Bakari, that has indicated that the President of the Republic of Cameroon has announced the putting in place of strict measures to fight against drug consumption amongst youths in the country. We shall be right back with the details. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back from the weekend. You're watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away in the nation's capital. The Minister of Communication, Issa Shiroma Bakari, has presented a worrying statistics on the phenomenon of drug consumption amongst youths in the country. Minister Issa Shiroma Bakari said that the President of the Republic has announced the putting in place of strict measures to fight against drug consumption, which is on a steady rise, according to the government of Cameroon in the country. He was speaking to media men and women in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today. Let's hear him in the following excerpt. He's going to be coming back to the situation of drug consumption in Cameroon.
Cameroonian youths enrolled in the ranks of Boko Haram, manipulated, instrumentalized, and addicted to madness have been transformed into real killing machines, becoming dehumanized and barbarian, showing death and desolation for long months, now in the northwest and southwest part of the country. The crisis situation in the northwest and southwest region since November 2016 illustrates the unprecedented and desolate effect of drugs used by our young compatriots. Under the influence of various narcotic and in the whirlwind of terrorist secessionist manipulation and fetishistic devices, the youths, believing to be shielded by scent of drugs and amulet, went on to perpetrate acts of unheard violence, attacking public buildings, strategic industrial facilities, school buildings, symbol of the Republic, perpetrating terrorist bombing and Molotov cocktail, destroying property belonging to public figures and authorities. Even more serious, despicable assassination of elements of the defense and security forces, assassination of traditional authorities, assassination of civilian population who refuse to respond to call to civil disobedience. Still under the influence of drugs, these young people make use of weapons of war and other military arsenals in different localities on the regions under tension.
That is the Minister of Communication, Issa Shiroma Bakari, taking a look at the impact of drug consumption in Cameroon, which to him is favoring acts of terrorism. The prevalence rates of drug consumption is extremely high, according to Minister Issa Shiroma Bakari, and there is the need for the government of Cameroon to step up efforts and curb the phenomenon. On the prevalence rate of drug consumption in Cameroon, Issa Shiroma Bakari tells us more once again in the following excerpt.
The main primary substances that are mostly demanded in Cameroon are cannabis at a 58.55% rate, very often associated with tobacco, tramadol in 44.62% of cases, cocaine in 12.10% of cases. Then we have the use of a traditional makeshift preparation for a consumption level of 7.69% cases, solvents for 7.6% of cases, and heroin consumed at 5.7% of cases. Most importantly, more than 12,000 young people under the age of 15 are involved in the use of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances in our country. Cameroon, formerly considered by the United Nations as a transit country, is currently a destination country for drug addicts. It has been shown that a significant proportion of drug seizures in the country are meant for local consumption.
Shoma Bakari that has earlier cited the devastating consequences of drug consumption in the country. It should be noted that elites in the southwest region of Cameroon have maintained that cessation is not an option and called on armed civilians and those in bushes to drop their weapons. It was during a heavily attended forum in the southwest regional headquarters of Buea. While calling for more troops to be deployed in the southwest region of Cameroon that rejected the convened Anglophone General Conference in Buea, the mayor of the municipality seized the opportunity to urge the elites to come to the ground if they want to put an end to the current crisis. Details with Derek Jato.
The security atmosphere under which the Southwest Elite Conference is taking place in Buea, this 25th day of August 2018. All the defense units are here and ready for any eventuality. The meeting will take place hours behind schedule. Reports say the gun battle earlier between the Ambazonian Defense Forces and the Cameroonian military at mile 16, gateway into Buea, delayed the chair, Mr. Peter Mafane Musonge, and his delegation that were entering Buea just that morning. These Southwest sons and daughters are converging on Buea under the theme Facing Our Challenges Together. And Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunge of the Buea Council, in his welcome address, reminded these elite that they had neglected the challenges.
I should be emphatic here that the silence of our elites in the past of the current terrorist actions in our region cannot be taken for granted and well.
And now that they are here, they must work hard and fast. If not, nothing good will come from the Southwest region. The crisis is deepening.
If we don't come together, we cannot strengthen the minds of our students, our children, to go back to school. We will not be able to go out and canvass for votes for our darling CPDM party, represented by His Excellency President Obi. So we need a more regular.
Lauding the mayor's initiative, Mr. Peter Mafane Musumbe said enough is enough.
What we have gone through over the last 4 months should challenge us, the people of the Southwest region, to say together, enough is enough. I wish to commend the efforts of the mayor of Buea, Patrick Ekema.
Then, the Way Forward Search Mission that saw commissions created, and the Southwest Political Choices Commission hours later came up with its own report.
We outrightly reject and denounce the options of secession. The Southwest region will not play host to the Anglophone General Conference bill for Buea.
The socio-economic impact of the Crisis Commission merely enumerated the damages recorded since 2016 when the Anglophone crisis escalated.
The primary school sector is heartbreaking. Just 1/3 of the children of school-going age are actually went to school in 2017-2018. No schooling in Akwaya, Mbonge, Bakam Munyele Axis, and the Goro Lebiadio.
Then the declaration.
Finally, we, the members of the forum, urge government to significantly increase the presence of forces of law and order in our region.
Begging on the Cameroon government to deploy more military forces into the southwest region was even surprising to some of the people in this hall. Some will whisper later that a southwest man on the ground is begging but for demilitarization and a ceasefire, for people are dying every day. The southwest elite left the region immediately after the conference, and the ghost town has again been heavily respected this Monday, August 27, 2018, in the southwest region.
And the towns of Boya, Bamenda, Limbe, Kumba and other parts of the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon were deserted this Monday. It should be noted that shops and markets were closed, and more than 2 days after the meeting of Southwest elites that took place in the Southwest regional headquarters of Boya, in Bamenda and some parts of the Northwest region of Cameroon, the ghost town was marked by gunshots in Mankon and several parts of Bamenda too, as well as Bambui, as we had reports in this evening. Reports have equally indicated that some casualties were recorded. We, of course, will be telling you more on that in a subsequent newscast. Still on the socio-political crisis rocking the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon, the Union Cameroon Democratic Force, the UCDF party, would vote for a unique candidate of the opposition during the 7th of October presidential election in Cameroon. Its national president, Dr. Ambani made the declaration that was in the economic capital Douala last weekend. Dr. Ambani said that only a coalition of the opposition political parties can be able to unseat the current regime, which has so far failed Cameroon on both economic, political and social domains, emphasizing on his experience in Cameroonian politics, notably the victory of he and other opposition party leaders claimed to be acquired. That was in 1992, the presidential election in Cameroon. Dr. Ambani said that candidates running for the presidential election this year should listen to his voice of wisdom. The DF party equally took interest on the situation in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon, indicating that the government is not supposed to use violence as a solution to the crisis. And Elections Cameroon has announced that it would be withdrawing polling stations from military barracks and palaces in the economic capital, Douala, in the nation's capital and other parts of Cameroon. The chairman of the Electoral Board of Elections Cameroon, Eno Abrams Egbe, was speaking today during a meeting with members of the diplomatic corps in Yaoundé. It should be noted that the outing of Eno Abrams Egbe is coming at the time when the Social Democratic Front Party was already mapping plans to take to the streets and organize a peaceful walk to protest against the presence of polling stations in military barracks and palaces, particularly here in the economic capital, Douala. It should be noted, however, that the planned protest by the Social Democratic Front that was organized by Honorable Jean-Michel Ninchu, the Social Democratic Littoral Regional Chair, was simply turned down by the divisional officer for the Douala 1 subdivision. And few days to back to school, the fate of clandestine schools lifted by the Ministry of Secondary Education is still hanging on the balance. Officials of the schools are striving to get their schools out of the mess. Babla Jonathan met the observation and toured around some clandestine schools here in the economic capital, Douala. He tells us more in the following report.
Out of 30 clandestine schools identified by the Ministry of Secondary Education in the littoral region of Cameroon, 4 are in the Bois de Senche neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision. Few days to back to school, the doors of the 4 schools are opened. At Divine Star Bilingual College, registration is ongoing, while procedures to solve the problem affecting the school, which is now operating under a new name, are on course.
The school carried the name before and now it has been changed, and the name now is Bilingual Comprehensive College. So meaning, I will tell you, there was a mix-up somewhere and everything has been cleared. That's why you see the doors open and you can see If you were outside, you must have seen some students outside and parents coming in.
Another problem affecting the school, like the other three, is the fact that it is built on state-owned land.
You are the one telling me that I am on a forbidden land. I did not know. When you say my school is on state land, who owns land in this country, Mr. Journalist? Divine Star Bilingual Comprehensive College is not the only building that you have seen on that land. If you have seen other houses and seen people there and seen a school, people are residents here and they need schools, the same like hospitals. I am sure you have seen hospitals too. As you were coming here, you have seen other public services.
On our way through the Bois de Singe area of the town of Douala, we saw this signboard giving direction to one of the clandestine schools on the list of 52 nationwide. As we went further, we saw this one bearing the name in the French language, and when we finally reached the school, we were told that the school is Collège Bilingue Grâce Divine and not Divine Bilingual College, as written in a ministerial release. And on this signboard, with its French language translation on the other side, the school official supervising construction works said management is in the process of obtaining authorization documents for the school to be operational September 3rd, 2018. At Victory Bilingual College, we are told officials of the school are striving hard to take the school out of illegality before the start of the 2018-2019 school year, Monday. Here, activities are on standstill while school officials wait, expecting Secondary Education Minister Nalova Lyonga to reverse her decision banning the school that has been existing for over 2 years. Few meters away from here, it is the same situation and atmosphere reigning at Collège Bilingue Islamique Fatime.
When the minister published the list, we immediately started depositing the document, even though the document was already in the process. But we had to push it. So we had to go to deposit the document to delegate regional of Britola. And then also he had to authorize with the advance copy, and then we went and deposited in Yaoundé, of which they gave us the discharge to prove that we have deposited the document at the ministry in Yaoundé. So for now we are waiting for the minister, His Excellency Minister, to look at our document and get back to us by authorizing us to go on. And our prayer is that the minister should hear our call and our plea, because we are here, we are just, our goal here is to educate Cameroonians.
The school has been existing for over 4 years.
And the state of the national route number 5 is precarious, a veritable nightmare for commuters plying the said route on daily basis. During this period of the rainy season, the route that is linking Bekoko, here in the country's economic capital Douala, to Buda in the west region has continued to deteriorate. Users are now urging the government of Cameroon to intervene rapidly in order to curb the rate of accidents recorded on daily basis on that stretch of route. Details with Smart Jikan Gabriel.
It is a veritable nightmare for travelers plying this stretch of road. We are at the national road number 5 that is getting worse as the rain continues.
We can see for ourselves what is happening here. We can see the state of the road. This has been here for more than 10 years that this place is like this.
It is a challenge for the drivers who take this stretch of road as they go through tough times. The drivers are confronted with roads that the tar have completely worn off, making them to be more attentive on the steering. Those who ever bother to fill the holes with earth ground and stones are at times sent away. We struggle to fill the potholes with soil and at times with stones for easy circulation. Some people threaten to beat us and ask us to leave the place. The poor nature of the roads has been blamed on the poor management of the funds collected at the different toll gates. Unfortunately, the road leading to the toll gate is also a disgrace.
We have a toll gate just right in front of us, which has the same problem. I don't know whether the state sees this or there are individuals that collect this money and put into their pocket. You don't see into that the road should be well maintained.
Even though accidents are blamed on the drivers, the absence of road sign posts have also been blamed on some of the accidents that occur on the National Road number 5.
And the head of a yet-to-be-identified child has been discovered. That was in the early hours of this morning along the Swa route at the 11 neighborhood in the nation's capital. It was discovered by an inhabitant who went to empty the garbage back in a waste can. A Momot crowd gathered to converge on the scene. As alarm was raised, the police later arrived at the scene of the incident and carried away the unidentified human head. Investigations have so far been opened. We can see how the population was in total shock and consternation. And the Catholic Church in Cameroon and in Ezeka Nyong Kele division that is currently mourning the death of Bishop Dieudonné Ambani that died at the weekend. His body was found in his room in Ezeka. That was an incident that occurred at the weekend. The cause of his death remains a mystery. Of course, we'll be telling you more on that in a subsequent newscast. They're bringing us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Points. Stay with us. Good evening to you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We are being joined tonight by an actor of the Civil Society, Mr. Davidson Day. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Glad to be here.
We are glad to have you as well. Now, elites in the southwest region of Cameroon have launched a peaceful crusade calling on all those fighting in the bushes to drop their weapons during the forum that was led by the president of the Bilingualism Commission. In Cameroon, the called on the government to deploy more troops in the region for peace maintenance. Are you satisfied with the resolutions of the meeting that took place in Boya the weekend?
Very far from satisfied. I think these elites are not taking into account what is happening on the ground. I think they are asking for more of the same things that have brought us to this situation, and hoping that it will make things better. Certainly, we don't need more troops. That they should meet and concert and come to resolutions, that's fine, that's democracy. But saying anybody else organizing anything for whatever reason, and I'm thinking particularly of the
Anglophone General Conference
that they are against, is not fair. And as I've often said here, these elites are appointed. These are not elected officials. These are not people that the people on the ground can say represent them. And that's what we need at this time.
You're therefore questioning the legitimacy or the how representative
yes, the
these elites are.
These are all people who have got
they don't
government.
Represent
They've got government jobs. They have whatever things they've been given by the government to depend on to defend for the most part, and to show you just how disconnected they are. They don't live in the southwest. They are all in Yaoundé. And as you commented, as the reporter commented in his report, they've all left southwest as soon as they had their conference and they went away. To even have this meeting, the number of Bs, and B, I mean the BIR version, not the BEE one, the number of them that were there, so many of them, the elites of an area, of a town, of a region, need to be protected if they are within their own region, within their own people, if they are speaking on their behalf, if the people recognize in them some representation. No, I think they should think twice. This is a time for getting together, seriously, Anglophones.
Now, many would have expected Peter Mafani Musonge, the former Prime Minister of Cameroon, who is now the President of the Bilingualism Commission, which was put in place to tackle the current crisis in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon to encourage any peace initiative like the All Anglophone Conference convened by Christian Cardinal Tomi. Why is the Anglophone General Conference rejected by these elites in the southwest region of Cameroon?
Well, you can see that the chairman of that commission is wearing several caps, and I believe firmly that he's not the one speaking. He's getting orders or instructions, or somebody is speaking from behind. He should have recused himself. He should have not attended such a conference where it is definitely bipartisan, that is strongly southwestern, kicking against his brothers or saying something that the people on the ground don't want to hear. He should have said, no, I'm neutral, I'll have to listen to both sides, and let's democratically decide what we want. But he, in this case, he's wearing the cap of a Southwest elite with resolutions that go against the people. And in the next case, he's supposed to be a neutral person, a bilingual commission that's supposed to listen to both sides and come up with solutions.
Are you saying that now that as the president of the Bilingualism Commission, Peter Mafani Musonge is somehow taking sides? He's not playing his role of neutrality.
He's clearly taking sides. He's never hidden that. He's never hidden that. Even before he was named, there had been another conference where he clearly, and this I heard, is not that I was told, said that the problems we're having, that were things that were happening in the Southwest, were of the making of the people from the Northwest. He's not neutral at all.
Mr. Davidson, the ATEH is a conference grouping elites in the Southwest region of Cameroon. Is that what the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon need now, as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned?
Certainly. For them coming together is no problem. But they should listen to the other. They cannot come together in order to ban, in order to give the impression that the others should not exist. It is part of the debate. They certainly have an input. But we are talking here of all Anglophones. And one part of the Anglophone cannot give themselves or cannot be permitted to be speaking for people whom they do not represent or for people who do not recognize them. That's where my problem is with that. And
deploying troops, more troops in the region, can it guarantee effective school resumption? Because that is one of the reasons why they were calling for the deployment of more troops in the southwest region of Cameroon.
Without being somebody a doomsayer, but I can tell you that we will not. It hardens the people. It worsens the situation. And I tell you, even the troops themselves know it. I don't know if you've been following up or noticing. The people there who live around there, who are subjected to these two forces, the Ambazonian or the restorationist forces and the military, they'll tell you that they are just playing mouse and cow between themselves. When the police or the official troops are out, the Amba boys supposedly stay out. When the Amba boys come out, the police and the gendarmes are the first people to run away. So I do not know what effect it is to double the number of troops. And at this rate...
So you believe that it
will make things worse. It will make things worse.
Mr. Davidson, just to find out from you before we go, elections, Cameroon has decided to get rid of polling stations in military barracks and in palaces. That is what some opposition parties were kicking against, precisely the Social Democratic Front and the CRM political party. Do you think, how can you appreciate this decision by Elections Cameroon?
Well, they've decided to wake up. But this is a question of common sense. They refuse to something that they know makes common sense. They make people carry out debates. They make people threaten to march and all that. And then they bring it in as if they were being magnanimous, they were being gracious. It did not make sense, given the way the elections go in this country, the laws go, to, in the first place, put voting stations in military barracks or in palaces. We know the type of permission you need to get access to those places, and there's no way. And we do not lack places to put polling stations. Why go there? They knew it all along, and they do that, and they've just divided. Everybody's been debating real issues, and then the last minute they give it as if it's a favor. Nothing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davidson D. for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much to our viewers. It was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.